Let's go ahead and do the prayer.
Dear Heavenly Father, we come here today as a group trying to make the right decisions for the city, for our employees. We ask that you guide us, guard us, and direct us, and that you help us always do what is right in your eyes, not in our own. In Jesus'
All right, we're going to go ahead and open the session. We're going to start with public comments. The City Council welcomes citizens' participation and comments at all council meetings. Citizens' comments are limited to 3 minutes out of the respect for everyone's time. The council is not permitted to respond to your comments. The Texas Open Meeting Act requires that the topics of discussion, deliberation be posted on the agenda not less than 72 hours in advance of the council meetings. If your comment relates to the topic that is on the agenda, the council will be able to discuss that topic on the agenda at that time that it's discussed or deliberated. Something a little new today. We're going to combine some items. So we're going to do a consent agenda. Items on the consent agenda are approved through a... Sorry. Do we have any public comments? Sorry, so used to everybody just being all happy. All right, so the consent agenda, items on the consent agenda are approved through a single council motion, which applies to all items listed. Consent agenda items are considered routine, not likely to require discussion or deliberation, and may be discussed prior to making the motion. There will be no separate discussions on these items unless a council member requests an item to be removed and considered separately. So item number 1, consider approval of the June 17, 2025 regular meeting. All right, can I get a motion?
Make a motion to approve meeting minute. What?
Yep, Mr. Mayor, so on the consent agenda, so what we'll do is you'll read all 4 of these. And then we're going to give a brief presentation on these, and then if any of the council members want to ask questions about them, they can pull those individual numbers off. Otherwise, they'll approve all of them with one motion after we read all 4. So read all 4, and then we'll give a presentation, and then if council members want to pull them, they can. And then at the end of that, then you'll have a motion to approve all of the items under consent.
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking the meetings were separate, but that makes sense. Number 2, consider pay request number 1 for J2 Construction Service for the work performed at the Industrial Lift Station and Force Main. Item number 3, consider pay request number 8 for Wicker Construction Incorporated for work performed on the West Loop wastewater collection project. And item number 4, consider pay request number 25 for Heritage Construction LLC for work performed at the Southside wastewater treatment plant.
Good evening. As Greg said, that I was going to go over a presentation over all 3 projects to give an overview. The project is the installation of 8,700 feet of 8-inch sewer force main and rehab and upgrade of an existing lift station. This is the first pay request, so it's easier just to go as the whole project with this. This is for the industrial park, which is on the south side of town, west of our airport. It has Newlywed Foods, Local Bounty, Diamond C are all in that same area. On the map to the left, it is the actual whole project. The highlighted portion is the portion of the force main that has been installed already. This is a really fast installation on the force main. It's mainly boring for the whole entire job, and then the major work is the actual lift station itself. The contract figures, the budget amount was $2.6 million. The contract amount was $1,440,272. The start date was April 7th, 2025. Substantial completion date is January 2nd, 2026, and the final completion is February 1st, 2026. The benefits of the project was to increase the sewer capacity of the industrial park, increase growth possibilities for the industrial park, and a new upgraded lift station with its own backup power. I have a couple of photos. This project hadn't really been going very long, but it's mainly boring. So you have a connection for one of the bore pits and clearing for a bore that was going to come up. Pay request number 1 is an amount of $242,303.68. This pay request is for the mobilization, clearing, and laying approximately 1,750 feet of 8-inch sewer force main. Original construction is $1,440,424. Time complete 7%, percent money 9%. Recommended motion to pay request number 1 of $242,303.68. Next I was going to go over the West Loop wastewater collection. The overview of the whole project is the installation of approximately 30,000 feet of 18-inch and 12-inch sewer mains, the installation of 13,000 feet of 8-inch force main, and construction of 2 lift stations and the removal of 3 lift stations. On the map, it shows start point and finish point, which is pretty much the sewer plant. Well, actually, it is the sewer plant. Going all the way, following our loop, all the way up to Tennyson Road, just east of the old VFW, is where this is supposed to end. And you have a few branches off on, I think, 899 and around the old Western Sizzlin to get the old lift stations to be on gravity, so we don't have to have those anymore. The highlighted portion is the part that has already been laid to date. I believe as of this week, they were boring the railroad tracks by 899, and they're fixing to be right at 899 crossing. Contract figures on this was budgeted at $13,874,581. Contract amount was $9,816,351.10. Start date was September 3rd, 2024. Substantial completion date is March 7th, 2026, and final completion is April 5th, 2026. The benefits of this project were to give Chris's and Anderson Crossing sewer, create sewer possibilities on the loop for future growth, eliminate 3 dated lift stations, gain 2 new lift stations with their own backup power, lower the sewer levels on existing lines throughout the city, and give more sewer availability in areas in the city. We have photos for this one. This is a bore pit. They were about to make a bore. I believe this is actually by the railroad tracks. And then you have the clearing by 899 through the trees. This is a casing that they're putting in that is being welded. And that's an open cut for laying the sewer line. Pay request number 8 is for the laying of 6,000 feet of 18-inch sewer mains, the installation of manholes and casing. The total sewer lines installed to date is approximately 25,000 feet. This includes road bores and casing. Previous payments was $4,232,457. Pay request is in the amount of $475,061.18. Time complete is 46%, percent money is 37%. Recommend a motion to pay request number 8, and $475,061.18. Next is the wastewater treatment plant. Overview of the project is the expansion of our current wastewater treatment plant from 2.9 million gallons a day to 5 million. Rehab our current wastewater treatment plant and move our discharge point from Hart Creek to Big Cypress Creek. The picture I've showed you is an overview of the whole entire property. To the left side of it is our old sewer plant. To the right side is the expansion. It's a little dated, so a lot of it still is been added since this picture was taken. But that is the whole picture is all. Contract figures. Budget amount is $48,186,133. Contract amount $41,012,657.85. Start date was May 15th, 2023. Original completion was June 3rd, 2025. Substantial now is October 19th, 2025, with final completion November 19th, 2025. Benefits, I do have pictures of this. So the first picture is the famous rebuilt screw pumps that are now functioning. Next is the aeration basin and the air pipes that we push air through the sewer to keep it moving. And the other one is the building that holds the pumps, the blower motors for the air. The next is a clarifier that we run the sewer through and let it settle and separate. And the last one is the start point of our contact chamber, where we pretty much turn it into lake water before we send it out. Pay request number 25 is in an amount of $447,468.22. This payment is for work performed at the wastewater treatment plant, including but not limited to equipment installation, commissioning of screw pumps, excavation for the chlorine contact chamber. The adjusted contract is for $41,012,657.85. Cost date $31,228,306.37. Pay request in the amount of $447,468.22. Percent of money is 68%. Recommend a motion to pay request number 25, amount of $447,468.22. Do you have any questions?
Thanks, Aaron. Any questions? No? Any from the public? Any from the public? All right, we're ready for a motion.
I make a motion to approve all consent agenda items as presented.
Second the motion.
Madam Secretary, can we get a vote?
Yes.
Aye.
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 Vote was unanimous. We're moving on to item number 5. Consider responses to requests for bids on street work, 1 TAC 2025, and possible actions on contract award. That's Gary.
Good evening, Council, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Nyoff. Tonight, I'm presenting the street work bid 1-2025. This is a bid that will support our long-term purchase goals to allow the City of Mount Pleasant to set prices until October 22nd, 2027, while edge milling and chip seal coating services. Using this formula will allow us to estimate street rehab projects for the future, streamlining the scheduling process to get street work completed in a timely manner. I have a little presentation for everyone. This is gonna be just kinda going over different kinds of street maintenance and all the good stuff. So, street improvement funding. March 15th, 2024, bond funding was authorized for multiple capital improvements. $2 million were allocated for street improvement. We estimate the cost for street improvements for the year of 2025 at $1 million, leaving an estimated $862,300 in reserve to help future improvements. Street improvements were chosen in conjunction with the most recent street index and staff recommendations. Spreading this amount over the next couple of years will alleviate spending from our yearly budget and allow us to be able to provide necessary improvements for the years to come. Different types of street maintenance and repair. We have asphalt rehabilitation. This is when the existing asphalt is typically milled, ground down to create a consistent fall onto the pavement, followed by the application of small aggregate chip. It protects the pavement from water and sun damage, increases skid resistance, and fills small cracks. Asphalt overlay is the process of applying a new layer of asphalt over an existing asphalt surface. This method is used to improve the appearance, smoothness, and structural integrity of the pavement, extending its lifespan. This year, our asphalt rehabilitation projects are these streets here as followed. I can go through them all if you want. We have Church Avenue, East First to East Third, East First, School Street to MLK, MLK to Ivory Street, MLK to South Otyson Avenue, Ivory Street, Baker Avenue, and South Lee to Cecilia Drive. These are our asphalt overlay projects. South Otyson from the curve at the dead end of the road, Green Hollow Lane, County Road 3225 by Twin Lakes. These will be our chip sealing project, Catherine's Court, Devonshire, Country Club Drive, Eagle Drive, Fairway to Eagle. This is our bond financials. This is where we're showing last year's overlay projects that we had already completed. We spent $137,700. And then this year we estimate spending about $1 million on the streets I kind of went over earlier. And that's going to leave us with the $862,300 in reserves for the following year. So, we recommend the approval of street work bid number 1-2025, contractor Texop Construction, LP, to be rewarded asphalt surface milling and asphalt edge milling, and then contractor Texana Land and Asphalt Incorporated to be awarded the chip seal and seal coating project. If you have any questions, I'd be love to answer them.
I will say this, I was on Green Hollow a couple of days ago. There's nothing there. It's really bad.
Yes, ma'am. I drove it and I was like, this is going on the list no matter what. So we've already started kind of repacking the base there and getting it prepped for the overlay.
And I have a question on East First, because I know in the past, a couple of times when we've done overlay, it actually nearly covers the existing curbs over there, and we end up with the street all the way up into their yards. Are we kind of watching and making sure that what little curb is still showing is still not going to be affected?
Yes, ma'am. So that's one of our rehabs. So we'll actually go in and mill it down to the original grade that it needs to be, and get it back within the curbs. So that's the benefit of actually getting these milling set prices, so we can, we have a lot of those issues around town, so that's what our goal is, to get those roads that have been overlaid, to the extent of their life, and we're gonna rehab them and get them back into compliance there. Yes, ma'am?
Looking at your two bids you got, looks like, two. One covered two of the items and then one covered the other. Cause one's, I noticed one's fairly close, the other one's in Roanoke. I'm assuming more folks bid.
So we only had 3 companies bid, and when it gets to the street stuff, it's you kind of get who is local enough, and they'll come out and do the work. So we're lucky that we have Texana close there in Sulphur Springs. They do our overlays already, so we know what kind of work they do. That's why we chose them on the chip seal coating. And TechSop works in conjunction, and they've actually worked here before in the past on rehab projects. So they work close with Texana as well.
Awesome, I just don't want someone,
I do. On, what do you call it, the milling, where you're going down? So you're gonna continue this, throughout the city at some point?
Yes, ma'am, that would be the idea. So in the past, we've overlaid and overlaid and overlaid it. It's easy on a public works director to be able to overlay because it's cheaper and you get beautiful roads. What happens is, over time, you end up with no more curbs. So it's my job now to correct those past mistakes and bring those streets back to the way they're supposed to be.
It's an elevated street.
Yeah, I've noticed a lot of flooding and everything on Bird. So, when y'all do that, the shredding or whatever it is, I mean, it's up, some of it's up onto the curbs. Are y'all gonna be able to get that machine like up into where the water would normally run?
Yes, sir, that's the idea. Yeah. All right. So some of it's a little difficult when they've overlaid completely and you've lost the curb. So when you mill it, you may lose some curb. We'll have to come back and re-curb and gutter those areas. But the idea is to get all that out and get it back to the initial grade.
Sounds good. Thank you, Barrett. Any comments from the public? Questions? All right, council, can I get a motion on?
I make a motion on, Streetworks number 1-2025, to go ahead and take it for a vote.
I second.
Madam Secretary, can you mark the vote?
Aye.
Aye.
Yes.
All right, it was unanimous. We'll go ahead and close out item number 5. Item number 6 is hold a public hearing per the City Unsafe Building Abatement Code found in Chapter 150 of the Code of Ordinances, and to consider a declaration of dilapidated structures at 604 East 8th Street within the city of Mount Pleasant, Texas, find it to be dilapidated and or deteriorated and damaged so as to require repair, rehabilitation, or demolition, providing a time within which the owner should rehabilitate, repair, or for East 8th Mount Pleasant Street, Block 159, Lot 3A, and I will go ahead and like to open the public hearing. And
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So tonight I do have 3 separate properties that I will be asking you for ordering to be demolished, or the city will do so in 30 days. So I'll just go by them. I'll just go through them one by one, but each one will be a separate. 150 as well as Local Government Code Chapter 214. It allows the cities to identify properties and move forward with notifying them and bringing them to council for a resolution. Staff identifies these properties. They send out notices. If we don't get any remedies or the owners don't address the properties, then we bring it to City Council for the hearing that we're having here this evening. City Council will hold the hearing and determine if the structure is needs to be dilapidated or needs to be demolished. And then they will order the structure to be demolished. If the property owner doesn't do it, we'll do it in 30 days, and then we will lien the property to recoup our money. So the first one, the agenda is 604 East 8th. This has been an ongoing issue, probably for at least 3 or 4 years I've been here. The property owners, Brennan and that's Michael and Michelle Brennan, they actually live in Seattle, Washington. I've been on contacting with them on the memo. We sent them out a notice, our code officer did, to get them to start fixing the property. She got a bid to fix the property. It was over $100,000 to make all the necessary repairs. So she said just to go ahead and move forward with the demo, and so that's why we're here tonight. These are pictures of the properties, and she said the inside is actually worse than the outside. So I'm asking, this is a public hearing, but I am asking council to order be demolished in 30 days. If not, the city has the right to do so.
All right, and we'll go ahead and close the public hearing if there aren't any comments. Any comment? All right, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and I'll ask for a motion.
Make a motion to proceed with city recommendation, on property 604 East 8th Street to be demolished.
I second the motion.
Madam Secretary, will you record the vote, please?
Aye.
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 Yes.
All right, the vote was unanimous, and we'll go ahead and close item number 6 and open item number 7. Hold a public hearing for City Unsafe Building Abatement Code found in Chapter 150 of the Code of Ordinances, and to consider declaration of dilapidated structure at 401 East 14th Street within the city of Mount Pleasant, Texas. Find it to be dilapidated and or deteriorated and damaged so as to require repair, rehabilitation, or demolition, providing a time within which the owner should rehabilitate, repair, or demolish such structure, and to consider ordering city abatement and subsequent lien of the dilapidated structure at 401 East 14th Street, Mount Pleasant, City of Mount Pleasant, Block 334A, Lot 1. And we'll go ahead and open the hearing.
So this one, it's owned by Mr. J.L. Means. He actually called me yesterday. It was the first time I heard from him. And so it says on here, the owner hadn't made contact, but he said he was out of town, so he actually contacted me yesterday. He says he understands that the building needs to be removed. He said he would not be here to contest it. And he said he is trying to sell the property. And so I don't know if that'll happen in the next 30 days, but we're asking that the council would order it to be demolished.
It's WL.
I apologize, WL Means.
I do have a question there. So if he has it for sale, if he has a buyer, are we gonna still proceed with demoing?
Yes, people that he told me he was going to talk to about purchasing the property are all local guys that, and some of them I've already talked to, reached out to them yet. But if I know that he sold it or a local gentleman's bought it, then we'll certainly work with them to, if they want to rehab it or whatever they want to do to get it fixed.
So would a lien be placed on the property? Okay.
Yeah, if we end up demolishing it, a lien will be. But if he sells it or I get contacted by somebody in the next 30 days that they have bought the property, we'll certainly work with them to get it cleaned up. He told me he was going to have all the trash taken out here in the next couple of weeks. You can see all the debris and stuff in the building, so we'll see if that happens.
All right, do we have any public comment? Question? All right, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing if there aren't any comments, and I'll ask for a motion.
I make a motion to declare the building on 401 East 4th substandard in order to be demolished by the owner within 30 days and to authorize abatement by the city after that time according to procedures in the city ordinance and the state statute.
I second.
All right, Madam Secretary, can we get a vote?
Aye.
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 Yes.
Aye.
All right, the vote was unanimous. We'll go ahead and close item number 7, move to item number 8. Hold a public hearing for the City Unsafe Building Abatement Code found in Chapter 150 of the Code of Ordinances, and consider a declaration of two dilapidated structures at 1200 block of Rambo Rambo parcel 11654 within the city of Mount Pleasant, Texas, find it to be dilapidated and/or deteriorated and damaged to require repair, rehabilitation, or demolition, providing a time within which the owner should rehabilitate, repair such structure, and to consider ordering city abatement and subsequent lien on the dilapidated structure at 1200 block of Rambo, Mount Pleasant, Texas, block 237B, lot 15C.
So this property, it's owned by Mr. Willie B. Goodlow. He's no longer, he actually had a home next door to it, but he's actually not living there. He's living somewhere else now. But these are two dilapidated structures. I don't know if they were sheds or if one was a small home and a shed. I looked on the appraisal district and it didn't have anything listed as a structure. So, but essentially these structures are pretty much gone at this point and just need to be removed from the property. So we're asking council to order them to be demolished.
Is the main structure still there?
Yeah, I'm actually probably considering bringing that to you this fall, maybe September, October. Yeah, but it's still there. It's getting pretty bad though as well.
All right, let's go ahead and open public hearing and ask for questions or comments. Council?
Make a motion to vote on, demolition of,
Hold on, Jonathan. Yeah. Let's go ahead and close the hearing. Close the public hearing. Go ahead, John.
now, I say let's, vote on, make a motion to vote on 1200 and, block of Rambo.
Aye.
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 Yes.
The vote was unanimous. We'll go ahead and close item number 8 and move to item number 9. We're going to consider approving a temporary construction access license agreement with John Anderson to allow the transportation of construction fill material across a vacant city-owned tract adjacent to the Anderson Town Crossing multifamily project. Hello, Lynn.
Good evening, council, mayor, city manager. This evening, this is a little unusual, case for us to be bringing. It is actually on behalf of a developer who has, gotten through the process, the entitlement process, and is ready to do his construction and building permit, for the Anderson Town Crossing, which is off of I-30, and is, sure you're well aware and familiar with, but just to kind of go over this, he is requesting an access agreement to cross city property, and we, the packet had an older version of this agreement that our council has brought forward at his request. And so I just wanted to call attention to the fact that what you have before you is the current version with just a couple of changes, and I'll highlight those as well. So as a refresher for council and also for the audience, the Anderson Town Crossing is a mixed use development with the first phase that was approved in May, and it will be 180 units and 5 three-story apartment buildings. That is also adjacent to the property that the Christus Hospital surgical and I guess emergency hospital is on, and so there will be other portions of that property developed at later stage. Mr. Anderson, who is the developer, and the ATC partners, he has stockpiled fill material on property outside of this project to the north for a number of years, and wishes to use it to develop these this work site, construction site. But between the two property to the north where the, fill material is and the dirt pile, and across it. It's somewhere, between 750 and 800 feet in length. He has, picked up and paid for his building, well, he's paid for the building permits. He is required to get all of his contractors in line, and I think there's one still that has to sign up, but that is expected this week. So the terms that are in, your packet, and then they were all pretty much there in the original version. They've just been rearranged a little bit. This would be for 120-day temporary use. It does allow for 30 days to an expansion of up to 30 days if needed. That would also be an additional charge. So that path to go along the green on the left-hand side, it's about 755 feet. That is 30 feet wide, no more than 30 feet wide through that property, from the one property line to the one at the south. He would, for that process, he would pay a $10,000 fee. There would be an additional $15,000 deposit for a safeguard the condition at the conclusion of the project that would also be collected at that time. And the extension that I mentioned is also in the agreement. That would be an additional $3,333 for up to 30 days extension if needed. The hours have changed a little bit, and so they have actually been shortened. So that would be for a work time between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday through Saturday, no construction on Sunday. The debris that would result from going through the trees would be taken to the south, which is also a vegetated site, and he will dispose of that as he is doing his construction material. And at the conclusion, the elevation would be returned to its normal state, and that he has agreed to secure the ends, both the north and the south, so that there would not be any unauthorized people that would be attracted to that and perhaps be trespassing on the city property. Let's see. Yeah, that's right. This is the kind of the illustration of the project from the site plan, just to kind of familiarize everyone with the site. You can see the highlight green line is the approximate location. And of course, in your packet, you also have a survey that shows exactly the area that we're talking about that he would traverse. And the property line in the pink area, that is actually going to be property to the south of that that's developed for the apartment buildings. There are additional pieces on that property that will not be part of the phase one that will come at a later date. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them. Mr. Anderson's here as well.
I have a question. You mentioned the debris disposal to the south. Where's the debris going?
I believe his intention is to dispose of that, burn it, and chip it, or however the construction material is on that site.
So we'll just burn the trees that are removed along with other trees that we'll be clearing on our site. We knew that the interstate side of the project would need fill at that time, and so it was always our intention, and is still our intention, to hopefully be able to purchase this land from the city. And so at that time, we thought eventually we'll own this land and we'll move the dirt over there. And so so there's a few options that could be used to move that dirt at this time. One would be the construction easement. If we do that, we're able to move the dirt with tractors. We don't have to get on a public road. So number one, for the people that live in that area, I'm sure it would be greatly appreciated. It's literally because we need to move 27,000 yards of dirt. So if you think about that in terms of 12-yard dump trucks, and then 12-yard dump trucks hold loose dirt. And so compacted dirt, we need 27,000 pounds of compacted dirt. So you're literally making thousands of trips up and down that neighborhood. And so to alleviate the discomfort and the frustration of the neighborhood, this would be, and it's also more cost effective to move it with tractors. The tractors that you move it with, they'll move more dirt than a dump truck, and most people refer to as a scraper. So you just go over the top of the land, skim the dirt, and then take it over there and just unload the dirt. You never actually have to slow the tractor down. You just keep putting it in the same spot or wherever you need the dirt. And so it's a much more efficient way to do it.
I think it's gonna be a time saver too, right?
Definitely the difference in the time, 3 dump trucks versus 3 tractors. It's 1.5 weeks, 40-hour weeks versus 5 weeks in a dump truck. And so much quicker.
Anybody have any questions, comments?
John, the houses there in the neighborhood, you're coming out kind of close. Are those folks know what you're doing? They're okay with it and all that? And so the city land, if you look at that tract over there, land, it's not shown on this. I wish I had not shown on that one either. And so I'm gonna walk over there for a sec. Well, yeah, there's an apron. Let me walk over there for a second and kind of point at something. Rather than 5 weeks of dump trucks. And so what we did, we just did whatever we thought would be the most convenient for everybody. Thank you.
May I just elaborate just a little bit? That was a really long way to explain our little 4-wheel drive trip we took on there. So Councilmember Knight and I on Saturday went with John to actually drive it so we could actually see where the road is, where the house is. And so there definitely are some, it's actually lower down, so you can't even see that house except for one place. And it's probably a good 100 feet of woods between where the path is and where that house is. And Councilmember Knight and I talked to as you can. And so when they actually go through there, they'll be part of where it was only about 10 feet wide where we drove. But we felt very good. I felt very good why I'm actually recommending it to go through with it, that it's a good distance away from that house. It's got the tree coverage, and I think it's important to really recognize the fact that it's gonna be either here or right in front of their house with hundreds of dump trucks. And so I think by far this is certainly why we recommend approval, is that this is the best path, least intrusive to the neighbors, and certainly it will be done much quicker. And so hopefully we get it done in a few weeks' time. Thank you.
And
Out of respect for the neighbors, I would go by and visit them and just give them a brief update, just so they're aware of it.
be glad to do that.
Well, I agree with both of them. I don't know where you're gonna, I'm sure you're gonna have many. That's the one thing I'm thinking, the smoke might get the neighbors. So just make sure they know you're burning.
Right, the amount of trees that we cleared for that road and the hospital was a much larger amount than will be cleared at this point. So when we've already burnt all those, and so at this point, we're down to the end of the burning. And so it'll be much less than we have it, done up to this point.
Thanks, Joe. Any more questions? In the community, anybody have any questions, comment?
Mayor?
Yes, ma'am?
Hi, Mayor. This is Lee Breen. I just wanted to clarify that I believe you have, that council has before them the correct document. Somehow in the process of the packet being put together, the wrong, or an earlier version of the document was included. And so I think the version you have has a lot of red lines on it, I think maybe in green, but that's the correct document that you will be approving today if council elects to approve this.
Yeah, we've got it, Lee. Thank you. All right, we ready to make a motion? All right.
I make a motion that we approve the temporary construction access license agreement with John Anderson to allow the transportation of construction fill material across the vacant city-owned tract adjacent to Anderson Town Crossing.
All right, Madam Secretary, can we get the vote?
Yes.
Aye.
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 All right, the motion passed unanimously, and that'll go ahead and close out item number 9. Thanks, John. We appreciate you coming up here. Item number 10 will be the city manager's report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of City Council. Candace, do we have that one slide on the mosquito? We'll just pull this up real quick. So there's been some questions in regard to mosquito spraying schedule, and so we wanted to quick put this up for everybody's information. It's also on our website, but again, what you can see is Zone 1, Zone 2. We do mosquito spraying Thursday and Friday, and we do that through, September, the end of September. So again, this is just to let everybody know if they have any questions when we do mosquito spraying Thursday and Friday, and we do Zone 1 and 2, half the city on Thursday and half on Friday. A couple other things to mention to you. So I this week met with Judge Cooper. Something that when I first was here last time, we ended up with a fire agreement. There's some things that we need to follow up on that we haven't done to us, serving them water and our interconnections and water treatment facilities. And so we'll be wanting to re-engage that for some very significant conversations for quite a period of time. We've got a great system. We're very interconnected, but if you look long term, I think there's going to be concerns and issues ahead. So we just need to be good partners on that and solve that. Big thing that's going to come up here is going to be the budget process. So we'll give you a few dates. August 5 is the date we have to present to City Council the budget. I'm going to ask the City Council to take a little extra time in the month of July, mid-July, and I have asked Richard Bonney from the Chamber of Commerce and myself, we'd like to facilitate maybe a 2, maximum probably 3-hour conversation with all of you in regards to your priorities and your goals for the city, so that when you do get the budget, which will be, it will have limited amounts of funds. There'll be probably less than we had to look at last year, or only slightly above, and so it'll be important to prioritize those. So we'll find out what dates work best for you. But again, he and I will facilitate that with you, get those priorities down, and then we'll integrate those into the budget process. For the community and for everybody, so in September 30 is when the budget has to be adopted. So we hold the 2 public hearings are required, and so we do that the first council meeting in September, and the second would be the second reading for final budget, and that's around mid-September. Staff-wise, the staff has already presented or given their numbers, put them in, and so now it's a matter to really estimate where we are in revenues, and then take a look at everybody's expenditure plan. I review them with all the department heads, and so it's kind of like a marathon. We go through this and we talk about what's necessary. I think I just wanted to say that, appreciate the council, we put consent on here, for these projects, but we also wanted to make sure, especially for the new council members, that we gave some up. Look at the all three projects are very critically important to open up more and more economic development capacity throughout the city in multiple locations. And so I think that's why the economic development, the partnership between the EDC and the city council is so important, that we really move forward and to utilize these improvements that we've done, many of which we borrowed for. So it's very important that we get new people in here. So I want to welcome everybody to do that. And I just want to thank the two gentlemen that did the presentations. They're both pretty new in their positions. Garrett's the senior, and Aaron just got appointed when the prior city manager. And so I appreciate you putting the detail in there, and I kind of pushed them into it to tell the story. And that's really the goal here, is to talk about what are you doing, but what's the real story behind these improvements that you as a council have authorized, and we move forward. So with that, I didn't wear my tie today. I wanted to look like Council Member Hinton, but I did wear my 4th of July shirt, so happy 4th of July. And, God bless this country and God bless this city. Thank you.
I have a question, Greg. And this came up a couple of weeks ago, and I don't remember if it was before you came back for your second stint or not. And Councilman Redfern brought this up to the finance director. I thought we were planning on, before we got presented, what you're gonna present to us August the 5th.
And so, yes. So the week of, well, I think there's two things going. So we'll talk about the week of August 6th through 12th. And we'll send you the budget calendar. Sometimes I'm leery to do that because it moves sometimes. But the week of August 6th through 12th, usually we do 2 days of we go through and all the department heads give presentations. What we had planned on, or what I planned on when we approved last year's budget, that at 6 months, we would go back through and really say, this is where we are. Now, you're getting monthly reports, so you are seeing that, but that did not occur. After 6 months and 7 months, and now we're at 8 months. So what we will do before the July meeting, or at least at that meeting, is we'll give you some really to help you. It helps everybody understand, as in the community too, when you have to go through difficult decisions, that the funds are limited. So the service levels that you receive now, they can be reprioritized by the council and by the community, but they're going to be very similar in numbers. But we'll at least get you the revenue numbers. The monthly numbers will get you some estimates for where we think we're going to end the year. That's what the staffs are working on right now. That should have probably happened at 6 months, 7 months. It didn't happen. And so we'll get you something so that we prepare you for the conversation for the upcoming budget.
Well, I know we've already been hearing the way the revenue is right now. I don't want us to get into a situation where we're sitting down where every department head has submitted a budget that is wants and needs, or wants versus needs, and then we have to have a reality check, because it puts us in a bad light, because we already know how bad things are. So I just really would like to make sure that we get a heads up, and that everybody has a heads up as to what the reality is right now.
Thank you, Councilmember Corbell, because that's very important. It's very important for me not to present you a Christmas list, and for the community to really understand that. So I can tell you that the preliminary budgets that the folks put in are less than 1% increases, but they've also given me 3% decreases, because I believe we're going to be probably at, like, overall budgets are going to be about 3% less, and we're going to be talking about revenue. So great point, and we do want to make sure that the toughest, I'd like to think that I'm going to be able to follow your goals, your priorities, and so that as a staff, we're able to put numbers in there and show you these are your priorities, and this is the best we can do. And then what you're going to do is say, what about this? We really think this is very important for our community to do. So my job is to really make sure you all understand the limitations, but not prepare the Christmas list and then having you cut it all. That is my job, to recommend a balanced budget. That's what I plan to do.
Do we have those salary surveys back yet?
Did you send them something, salary survey wise? Yeah, so. There was a question, I think, of what salary changes were made during the current year, and so you saw those. And so, before I left on round one, was council approved a compensation study. It had been 5 years, and the recommendation is you do that 5 years. Staff contacted the folks that do that for us, and they did not believe that they could get you and get us that information prior to the budget process, which is critically important. And so what's going on is our HR director, Holly, is actually working on putting that together. And so I'm thinking, what are you, a couple weeks away probably from finishing that? Yeah.
The data's been collected and we're analyzing it now, is what's going on.
So what I would say is I would say we're going to give you our best shot at that without being the extensive look that your consulting group would do through that process. So hopefully that's going to be good enough. And so what we did, we already met with these folks, Candace and Holly and I, that we will begin this process with them in January so that we can have something by May, and then the next year's budget, we're going to have it completed. And one reason it's important, why don't you do it now? Because you want to hit the budget cycles of all cities, because you want to have the breadth that's very updated, and so that when we give you the next one, which would be they start in January, we get it in May, that's going to have 2025, 2026 budgeted numbers or employment pay numbers already in it. So we feel bad that we were not able to get it done in time, but when they told us they couldn't get it to us before budget, it's not worth a whole lot when we get it later, and it's actually a year backdated. It would be when we looked at it, so we'd already have to be adjusting for rates.
It just would have been nice if we at least had some of it to compare with where we are now. Thank you.
And those budget workshops that's open to the public, right? That's what I went to last year.
That's correct.
So it's working? Oh. All right, so anybody that's interested or curious about that, look out for those workshops, and you can attend them and ask any kind of questions you want to. All right, are we ready to close item number 10? We'll go ahead and close item number 10 and move on to executive session. Oh. Are there any council comments on what you've done since the last meeting or anything that's went on since the last meeting? Go for it.
Today, the Spay and Neuter Project, led by Holly Parker, had a food spaghetti sale, chicken spaghetti. And I've got 2 plates at home. I'm ready to go home and eat it. But they've worked really, really hard to make money for the Spay and Neuter. And, of course, they come to us for help. And we did help them, and they're helping themselves. So if y'all get a chance, support that group.
Thanks, Carl.
I'll just say, hope everyone has a safe 4th of July coming up, and don't hold the firework when you light it.
Fire chief's not laughing. All right, we'll go ahead and we'll close out we're going to go ahead and move to executive session pursuant to Open Meetings Act, Chapter 551, Texas Government Code. The City Council will recess into executive sessions, closed meeting, to discuss the following: consultation with attorney, Texas Government Code 551.071, and personal matters, Texas Government Code 551.074, related to appointments, employment, evaluation, reassignments, duties, disciplines, or dismissals of public officers or employee. Number 1, discussion of applications for a city manager. and municipal judge. Declarations regarding real property, Texas Government Code 551.072 to deliberate the purchase, exchange, lease, or value of real property. Deliberations regarding economic development negotiations, that's Texas Code 551.087 and Texas Code 551.072, and consultation with our attorney, Texas Government Code 551.071, concerning performance agreement between the city and MPEDC relating the lease agreement for Project Elixir Pro. All right, we'll go ahead and close the public session and move on to the executive one. Thank y'all. All right, we're closing the executive session, reopen the regular agenda. And there's no action that was taken in the executive session on the first item in the executive session on either the city manager application or the municipal court judge. And then, council, do we have a motion on the second item in the executive session relating to the EDC?
I move to approve the performance agreement between the City of Mount Pleasant and the Mount Pleasant EDC for the EDC to pay the city 42.75% and the developer relating to the project Elixir Pro, which funds can be used by the city for infrastructure improvement.
Is there a second?
I second.
All right, Madam Secretary, please record the vote.
Yes.
Aye.
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 All right, that was passed unanimously. All right. Meeting adjourned.